is the introduction to me as a blending social studies teacher. I'm Mark Stevens, grade 7 teacher, and I teach U.S. history, actually, Reconstruction through modern times. And the school at which I teach, you can see the profile on the two tables. When we have all students in the building, we have about 1,900, 2,000 students. And you can see that we do have some students that we have the opportunity, the blessing to support. And with the work that we've been doing, the testing results you see there, which may not be the greatest, are improving. Now, the years that I've been teaching 27 years, the last 16 here at Glasgow. Before that, I did teach at a different school. But you could say, as far as how long I've been blending, you could say I've been blending for 25 years, because you see there the tiny little story about having to ask the principal to move from a 2600 baud modem to a 5200 baud modem. Now, sorry, I didn't have the space to explain what a modem is if you don't understand, but I'm sure you can look it up and find it quickly. Now, I've been blending in a more focused way for about 10 years, and the evolving technology keeps making it change, as I'm sure you're experiencing yourself, become even more dynamic. There's a somewhat funny story that one time a CT leader told me that kind of drove me into a PhD program to learn even more about this. Told me that blended learning will not work for students like those in our school, and that kind of motivated me to get even deeper into blending. And the one thing I love about teaching is making a difference, and blending helps me do that. Just the example I'll give to you is, because of family experience with a daughter, I'm very experienced with, very familiar with students that are struggling with emotional issues. And one time I had a student, explained to me by the counselor that she was having issues, and I offered to help her with blending. And she said she wouldn't have internet where she was going for 2 weeks. And so I offered to be a source of support when she got back, and I was blessed with the opportunity to do that. So I do like making a difference, and blending is one way you can make a difference and reach students you wouldn't reach in other ways, in my opinion. Now, something interesting about myself is, before I was a teacher, I was a bill collector. I kind of used that in my mind as the main way I started learning how to motivate people to do things. The interesting story about that part is, one time I was living in Florida. I was out collecting a payment, trying to collect a payment at a single wide mobile home. And the guy wasn't there, so I was coming back and I started hearing all this stuff on the radio. And when I stopped back in town at a place where I financed vacuum cleaners for, I looked up in the sky and saw this big, huge pink cloud, which is where the shuttle Challenger had exploded. But it really does help me learn. That started me on that pathway to learning those skills you see there: inspiration, motivation, progress, and success. That really was the mindset I used. And how I use blended learning, I give you two examples. One here is authentic problem-based learning, where I had the students pretend to be workers for an organization that made online or in-person presentations that could be used at an event like that. And they were using multimodal resources, content of the Cold War, to learn the content and then prepare a presentation of their own directing to be shown at this concert that was going to happen at Tushino Airfield in Moscow in September 1991. And it actually was a concert. Those pictures you see there are from that concert. You can find videos of the concert. But they had, as you see, between 700,000 and 1.6 million people. Then there's also the approach that I'm kind of using now in our different learning world, is just splitting the content up into self-paced modules, where we have occasional check-ins with Google surveys and with actual breaking in and stopping the work and talking about something they've learned. But I'm also constantly in the room using question and answer, both private and everyone chat, and for the students that are in person in the classroom. Then we post lesson debrief surveys at the very end of the lesson that can then be discussed the following day. And the extension activities are given to them, so again, they can continue that more in-depth blended type of experience learning the content. So again, it's a combination of blending that empowers the self-directed learning.